John Cena says he doesn't want kids.
I don't want them. You don't? No, and I'm still there. I'm 47. I don't have them. You don't want a little Johnny? Or Joanna? My biggest fear is I don't think I'm personally ready, nor will I ever be, to invest the time it needs to be a great parent. I want to live life for all it is. I still have a lot to do. It's a tough subject to talk about because it immediately puts you in a category and we can't help but judge. People are human nature. My opinions only hit that gray area during emotionally difficult times. A difficult conversation to have with your wife? I open with the uncomfortable conversations. So those were like first and second date questions with my now wife. It was great because we both got to lean into these uncomfortable moments. Of course, nobody's perfect. We have our disagreements, but we handle them right then and there.
It blows my mind that someone with the money and resources like John Cena says that he doesn't want to be a parent. He says he has so much more left to accomplish. Well, you could have kids and still accomplish that. The tone and hesitation in his voice just doesn't seem like that's what he really wants. I mean, even Shannon Sharp asked, don't you want a little Johnny? So it just goes to show you that not everyone has to live the same life. That being said, we need a little John Cena. I think even John Cena knows that he wants a little Johnny. It just only seems right.
I'm starting to see a lot of women and men saying, thank God I don't have a baby. I don't want no kids.
Yeah.
Having kids used to be a beautiful thing.
Right.
Now it seems like a lot of people don't want it at all.
When you're talking to a girl and she says that she does not want children, that is the biggest red flag in the world because she's living for herself more than she is for her future offspring.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So guys, let me just ask you a question. I don't know if you've noticed a very common trend right now that is going on where women are coming out in huge numbers talking about how they don't want kids. And it's not just women, Maureen. Also men are coming forward. If I give a case in example, this famous person from the US, he used to be a wrestler. Right now he's a famous actor, John Cena. I don't know how many of you know about him. So John Cena came forward and he really used to talk about how he never wanted kids, okay? And this is a man saying this, right? And now it's becoming common.
Yeah, back then people used to judge him and think that he was being selfish for having such decisions, you know.
So in the talking about his wealth as well, saying he has a lot of wealth, why not have kids as well?
That is what people would ask him. So in the video we are going to be playing you today, women are coming out explaining the reasons why they don't want kids. Some men understand their point of view, but others condemn them for this decision. They further go on to tell them that they're being selfish and they don't want to continue the human race.
Right. Guys, another question I have for you, okay? How many women, I know our audience, we have a mature audience, and I know there's good number of you that are a bit older, right? So I just want to pose a question to you. Men and women alike, have you found yourself, for those who have had kids, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you regretted having your kids? Let us know why, if you're free to talk about it, right? And for the men, have you ever sat down in a situation where you felt yourself, you felt like you regret having kids, and if you were told to go back in time, it's a decision you'd have made differently? Have you found yourself in that situation?
Yeah, because quite often from our way back, we used to be told the reasons why it's beneficial for you to have kids, especially here in Africa. It's because it's fulfilling to have kids, the company they keep you, and most in
society it also elevates your position.
It shows how fertile you are, you know, and it also gives you an insurance policy for when the kid grows up and you become old, they'll be the one to take care of you in future.
So let me just ask, you know, I normally sit down and also ask myself, Maureen, our mom only has us as children. She doesn't have any other children.
And she loves us very much.
We have to say that. But sometimes I normally sit down and ask myself, not all the time, but there are times that I do sit down and ask myself, is there a point where she regrets having kids? You know,
especially when you behave in such a way that sometimes, you know, children sometimes can be difficult, and you, in America, they'd say you become she-heads.
So I normally ask myself again, does she feel at some point that having kids, that is us, having kids kind of interrupted her life? Does she ever resent us in some situations where she feels like her life stopped when I don't know if I'm making sense, guys, because our mom really loves us, but I can't help myself.
But wonder sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So guys, let us know. We'd like to really hear your opinion on this. But before that, let's watch this video and then we come back and discuss.
I've escaped 80% of life's problems by not having children. So I did a video about this on my YouTube channel last year, and it was my most viewed video to date, where I talk about how the only thing that I have to worry about when I wake up in the morning is, do I want coffee or tea? And there's no legitimate reason under the sun for me to ever change that. A lot of people don't have a deep understanding that for many of us child-free women, the decision to be child-free really just comes from not wanting to make our lives harder than it has to be. Because it's like, why would I do that, right? I talked about how I don't have to worry about stuff. And then if I had kids, I would have to worry about a bunch of things, like overnight. Right now in my life, I no longer have to live paycheck to paycheck. Now, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck because I used to live like that a long time ago. And now I don't have to. Like, I even have things on auto pay now, because we always joke about, you know, you made it if you got things on auto pay. Like, just take it out of this account. You know what I mean? I have stuff like literally coming out of this account on auto pay, like every week, every month, whatever. And so I literally would go right back to living paycheck to paycheck again and struggling again if I had children. And I have no intentions on doing that. And I don't understand why that's hard for people to get.
When I tell people I don't plan on having kids, they're always so surprised and tell me I should because I'm so good with people. Actually, nobody's ever fucking told me that. But here are 2 reasons why I'm not having kids. But you already know, I'm gonna need y'all to peep game and lock in and ignore this fat ass pimple. My first reason for not having kids is my hate for the police. And my hate for the police is so strong that I know it would get in the way of my family. Like, if my kid were to come home from school and for some reason I'm drowning in a pool of my own blood, if I saw that little nigga on his phone dialing 911, my last words will be, "You are no son of mine." Like, if there was a button that I could press and it got rid of me and all the police officers in the world, I am smashing that bitch like YouTubers tell y'all to smash the like button. But my second reason is less hateful, and it's just me being a cheap ass nigga. Do y'all really think I'm gonna work 40, 50-hour weeks for the rest of my life just for Christmas to roll around? And my kid believes some fat white man slid down my chimney and bought him presents? Fuck no. I clocked in at the warehouse. I went to Walmart. I fucking wrapped a present. Y'all might as well start telling y'all kids Santa doesn't exist now, because if y'all don't, my kids will.
45% of working women ages 25 to 45 will be non-married, no kids, and you might say, well, what's wrong with that? If you think that you're going to be 45 years old, no kids, not married, and that you're going to genuinely be fulfilled in life because you made money.
So who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them that a lot more women are embracing the rich auntie lifestyle because they're tired of men and their weaponized incompetence? I know some men think that it should be the honor of your life to marry them and take care of them like a child, cook for them, clean for them, do the laundry, all of that, take care of them and their offspring. That's the honor of your life. That's the reason you were created. Like, now your life has meaning. It's all projection. They're the ones who are afraid of growing old and dying alone. But they'll try to tell you that, no, that's what you're afraid of. How could you possibly be happy with all that money? To travel, to see the world with? It's not like, as a single woman, she still couldn't entertain a man if she wants. She doesn't have to marry one. She doesn't have to have a kid with one. She can just entertain one, go on some random dates if that's what she wants. Like, we realize that with the marriage comes a lot of responsibility for her. She is expected to do so much. And a lot of these women these days would rather take on 100% of the financial responsibility, 100% of the domestic skills in a house, rather than do it for you and get nothing in return for it, because you still want her to pay bills. So she's single, in her 30s or 40s, unmarried, child-free, with lots and lots of money to do whatever she wants to do with, nobody to answer to, no responsibilities to anyone except herself. It kind of sounds like you're threatening these women with a good time to me.
I'm starting to see a lot of women and men saying, thank God I don't have a baby. I don't want no kids.
Yeah.
Having kids used to be a beautiful thing.
Right.
Now it seems like a lot of people don't want it at all.
It's true.
I think it has a lot to do with how poor we are as a generation.
Agreed.
And also how free we want to be. And you can't be broken free. They can barely take care of themselves. So they're saying, true. How the hell can I take care of a kid?
Oh, I don't think that's the biggest red flag here.
Because she's living for herself more than she is for her future offspring.
I feel it's important that I point this part out, but if a woman or any person for that matter has decided they're not going to have kids, there won't be any future offspring.
I don't mean the girls that are like, I'd like to delay a few years. I'd like to do it, end of my 20s, early 30s, whatever. I mean women that are like, I'm not having children. There is no bigger red flag.
And just why is that a red flag?
We are all going to pass away and be forgotten. The only thing we contribute to the world is our children.
Really? The only thing? My goodness. Now, don't get me wrong. Having children is an absolute blessing for those of us who are lucky enough to have them. But also, there's nothing wrong with an individual who chooses not to have children, whether that be a man or a woman. But I can't wait to hear what happens when this individual discovers things such as personal legacies and accomplishments, as there have been quite a few people throughout history who have never had children, but indeed have left quite a mark on history.
That is the biggest red flag in the world because she's living for herself more than she is for her future offspring.
Should I or should I not have kids? How do you know that she hasn't deeply considered that and then chosen to not make more humans for the sake of those humans? Your concern is that she's doing this for herself, which she has every right to do. But what if she has the biological drive to have kids, like most of us do, and she's choosing not to for those kids? I'm not saying you should agree with that. I'm saying you should be able to imagine that it's possible.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother. I don't need to stay at home and play giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system. I don't have to do any of this shit. Why should I do that? Why should I waste my resources doing this when there's other games that are much more fun that are available for me to play? Why? And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment. And that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So I'm talking as a woman, right? I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me. And I'm the byproduct of their discontent. And then you tell me I should do the same thing as they did. Well, quite clearly it didn't work out. So why should I do this? What's the point? How's that going to fulfill me? And the only reason I did that before, or a couple of generations ago, is because the zoo required me, through its ordained religious priests and its science of the time, which was religion, that imposes us to do that and gave us, this is what you are as a woman, you're supposed to give birth. And you as a man are supposed to go work in the field like a donkey. This was ordered by the zookeepers in order for us to create more slaves so that we can build the zoo and make the zoo structure increase and grow and grow and grow. So I didn't really want to have a child. I was obliged to have a child. It was what I did because there's nothing else to do. And that was what was told to me to do. Even though it may match my biology. I didn't necessarily want to have a child. What for? What's in it for me?
Children, that is the biggest red flag in the world because she's living for herself more than she is for her future offspring.
Dude, could we just have like one day off from explaining thinking to these men? Because like I was having a good day. But did anyone else notice his misogyny and entitlement to women is like so deep ingrained in him that right away out of the gate he contradicted himself? He said when you're talking to a woman and she says she does not want children, that is a red flag because she is living selfishly and not making sacrifices for her future children. And let me say it one more time, really obvious for the Kyles in the back who aren't getting it. He's claiming when he's talking to a woman who said she's not planning on having children, that's selfish because she's not planning her life for those future children she's not gonna have. Do you see what children? She's not having children. Why would she plan her life around children she's not planning on having? Like, he is literally so misogynistic that he truly can't fathom that women are anything other than breeding vessels on this planet. He believes in his mind that maybe she's just waiting for a man to come along and change her mind or something, and then it will be selfish. But no, like, she doesn't want that. Like, why can't you get that through their head? There are also women on this planet who can't physically have children. Are they selfish too then? The cognitive dissonance of the video, it's just so rooted in these boys that they can't even discuss it because they can't get the words to come out of their mouth. That is how horrible it is. They can't even get themselves to say out loud that it's possible a woman exists on this planet for a purpose other than carrying children. And his whole argument in the video is that that's selfish. A woman who exists on the earth, her only purpose is to be bearing children. And if she's not bearing children, then she's just selfish. But you know what else is selfish, buddy? Not being able to step outside your own mind for a moment and understand women and empathize with them. And claiming that every single woman on this planet who doesn't plan on having children is just selfish and a waste of space, I guess.
I remember when that question was asked when I was 34.
Yeah.
And it was the only time I thought to myself, can't wait to be older to answer this question. I just know I'm going to be able to say that it's a bunch of bullshit. So now I'm telling you it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
It's a bunch of bullshit. And me having friends with children and grandchildren, the sadness, the disappointments, the expectations not met. My dearest friend just died. I was with her for the last 7 months. She's a mom of 2. I think they visited once. They live in the neighborhood.
Wow.
It was her friends who fed her, who held her, who cried with her, who brought her food, who massaged her, who put, a cream on her, who decorated the room. The nurses came in and said, this is hospice. We have never seen a room like this, and we have never seen so many people coming and going. Why? Does she have a large family? No, she has friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Make friends. They're the answer. And younger, too.
It's almost like people want you to be miserable with them because they're miserable. Because it's like, what part of I'm comfortable and I don't want to change that do people not get? Like, and if you're pretending to not get it, I'm thinking it is because you're miserable and you're upset that other people won't be joining you in your misery. I never have to know what it's like to have a kid unalived in a school, pew-pewing, or to be bullied or harassed or unalived in any way, assaulted in any way. Like, I'm never going to have to experience that. I don't want to experience these things, A lot of times you guys think that going through things builds character. And I'm like, maybe it does in some ways, depending on what it is and who it is. But I don't want to go through my kids being harmed and unalived to build my character. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go through homelessness to build my character. I don't want to lose everything that I've worked hard for. I don't want to go back to living paycheck to paycheck to build my character. I would rather build my character by reading books, by learning about different cultures and learning about people and studying human psychology and studying plants and animals and whatever. You know what I mean? Studying the universe in which we live in, right? I would rather build my character by getting out and helping to volunteer at soup kitchens and stuff. Like, that is how I build my character.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. One thing I have to say is that, and this is a saying that I feel like it's getting common, not just in the Western countries, but also
even
here in Africa, okay?
Yeah, it has really started to take root.
And it's really making a lot of sense. They say the only situation where I can agree is that if you can't sustain your own life, okay, as an individual,
don't go making another life and then you bring that baby into a place where they'll suffer.
Yeah, you have no business making a baby if you can't even take care of your own self, And we are realizing there's a trend that is going on even here in Kenya where a generation of single mothers is really increasing. You understand?
Right.
A generation, you find that a woman is giving birth, but this child is not being raised by both parents. For some reason, one reason or the other, there's a lot of women who are raising kids alone. So if you find the type where they're saying they don't want to have children, also
because
I feel
they don't want to bring kids into that situation where they'll be raised by a single parent, and there's another parent out there who doesn't want anything to do with the kid, because you know that you bring that kid into a situation where he or she will be emotionally
Yeah.
You know.
Another thing, a trend that is happening in Asia is that women are refusing to have children, and then they're doing it for a different reason, yeah? And not
because
only
of the
Asia.
misogyny.
Exactly. Because of the patriarchal society in their countries, and also not just in Asia, they're also citing reasons for not having kids is because they do not want to give birth to kids who are coming in to become people's slaves. Let that sink in for a moment.
I feel like this trend has started taking root because right now people look at things from a broader perspective, not just they weigh the pros and the cons, because kids are really, really good, yeah. But if as a person you sit down and you think, someday my kid will have to join a rat race that they won't be able to get out of unless by luck, you know, they decide to go the other way. This kid is going to, you know,
be miserable. Right now the level of depression, let's just say, it's starting at a very young age, and life is very, very expensive, okay? So I really feel like someone is not being selfish if they choose to not have kids for one reason or the other, okay?
Yeah, because you know, people know each other at an individual level. So for someone to say I don't want kids personally because my reasoning is financially I won't be able to take care of these kids, or emotionally I won't be able to be available for these kids. I feel like we should all understand each other's reasons instead of trying to force a particular group of people to become what they don't want to be as of right now.
Right, at the end of the day, I normally say we all can't think the same. Different people have different perspectives, because much as there's this group of people who think alike, there's also the group of people, to be honest, who are happy in their parenthood era, you know, people who are glad they gave birth, people whose children are thriving and they're really, really proud, you know, so you can't also discount that.
People who consider their children as their best friends,
right,
and their children look at them as best friends also.
Yeah, and can we talk about much as it sounds nasty to say, but people who give birth as an insurance policy, because for some people it does work.
There are people who give birth as an insurance policy, such that it's not. Guys, this particular group of people who give birth to children as an insurance policy, most of them will find that they were born in poverty, right? They tried getting out of poverty, but they didn't succeed. So they're bringing children into the same poverty, and when these kids reach teenagehood or grow a little bigger and get their first job, they start burdening these kids like, you know, I took care of you, I fed you, I clothed you, it's time for you to do the same for me. So they're having kids as an insurance policy, and that is why I feel like right now
I'm glad to sit down and think about
evaluate.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm glad people are evaluating. If I want to have a kid right now, what is it best for that kid right now for me to have them? What is the reason I'm having a kid? What is the reason?
Anyway, guys, I feel like this is a pragmatic conversation that I feel like it's very, very much needed.
I feel like this is also a good time to be having this conversation, because for the women who are choosing to not have kids, it is going against the religion, because most religions have often insisted that, which is, you know, God wants us to multiply the earth, you know, but also the time you're taking to multiply the earth, what quality of life are you giving to your kids?
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this episode. We thank you so much for joining us. Let's catch you on our next. Consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and also leave a like for the video. We'll very much appreciate it. You can also share it to someone you think it's going to help, right?
See you on our next episode.